last slide here kind of gives you a table diagram of the cost and the impacts of the different types of testing. And really, your first two lines there, the internal validation and comprehensive external testing, really what those are going to is you have a large implementation already done, and then you do an all-in-once testing methodology instead of basically doing it from a phase standpoint. And you can see the different impacts there. You know, if you do it all in once, the activities can be really rigorous at times, and it really depends on what your deployment schedules are. Also, from a phase standpoint, you have the costs kind of go through the roof because you might have kind of lose that economies of scale standpoint, and also you're constantly dealing with onboarding and constantly interrupting projects instead of actually hitting it all at once. So really, it's kind of, you know, your choice to make that decision there, but they both have their strong points and weak points. And then some of the key lessons learned that really just wanted to talk to you on that right side there. I really didn't go through every one, but I wanted to hit on some ones that I thought were really important. If you're going to do pen testing of smart grid devices, it's really good to budget for spare units. A lot of people didn't think of that, but when you're doing extensive security testing, you really don't want that device to go back out into the field ever. And more than likely, if you're doing that kind of work, the device probably is not going to work very well when you're finished. So budget for spares. If you're working on these projects and consulting from a security standpoint, and you know this testing is going to be done, ask your project managers, so, hey, can we order another one because we need, you know, we're going to do this testing and we don't want to have to wait 8 weeks for another device to come in. Also, you got to kind of balance. You got to, when you start these engagements, it's best to kind of set how far are you going to let your pen testers go? As far as, are you just going to have them validate test cases, or are you going to let them explore? You know, what we've done is taken the testing teams and said, okay, we want you guys to test equipment based on the standpoint of an advanced user. Take a week, do a black box testing, and go as far as you can. At that point, you know, if you haven't found anything, we can step back, give you more information, and a more directed approach. But really, we want to know what our exposure is from the casual user, you know, someone outside the company and our true attacker profile. Another important thing is pre-production units might not, testing a single device might not obviously expose you to all of the possible vulnerabilities that lay there. You know, you really want to test those devices as they're deployed, especially the best way to do is really in its true like field environment so that you can see all the other interfaces and it's not just solely that one device. It's kind of that overarching architecture that could have vulnerabilities. I think Eric touched on it also. Code reviews are definitely very important. Some of these systems or devices, you know, they're rushing to market. They might not have that code developed, or it might not, the security of that code might be kind of pretty low on their list of priorities. So really taking the time and not just looking at the device standpoint, but taking a look at the code of the application to make sure it doesn't have insecure APIs, possible commands for shut-offs, things like that. And I think the last point here from lessons learned is that not only from a security standpoint, when you're managing these kind of engagements, you do a lot of project management work too. Bringing in external resources or lining up internal resources to do testing, you really have to figure out where the testing is going to take place, what tools are you going to use. A lot of this equipment has special adapters and basically interface applications to do the testing. So really taking that in consideration, you can't just drop a pen test team into a working environment and expect to get quality results. There's a lot of front-end planning that really needs to go on.